is delivering speech number 6, vocal variety, as can be just pointed out from the competent communication manual. He's been a Toastmaster for almost 2 years and is working towards completing his competent communication. Please welcome Shannon with his speech. Be prepared.
Apprehension that I proceed with the speech number 6. As you all know, I've just recently returned from Belize with the Scouts. And I mentioned we went to a river there. What I failed to mention is I got into that river and went down some rapids. And this brought back a flashback of pure terror from my Czech Republic experience. In the Czech Republic, I'd taken the Scouts 2 years ago, and we decided we would go whitewater rafting. Our motto in Scouts is be prepared. We had prepared. We had good guides. I'd been whitewater rafting. I'd whitewater canoed. I was going to shine in this part of the trip. This was mine to lose. This was my trip. This was my section to be the person that was going to impress. We get to the river after traveling overnight. Scouts, we try to do everything as cheap as possible, so we decided we would rent a bus. We were in the Czech Republic, and we traveled overnight to get to our whitewater rafting in the morning. So we figured, you know, we could sleep on the bus and save the fare of the hotel. So our whole experiences are kind of like that. Being prepared requires you should be well rested. We sort of failed to do that. We went the first day on the river. We put the stronger paddlers, myself and the other leader, in the front of the boat, and we go down a river that's probably a grade 2 or a grade 3. It's not particularly scary or difficult. And some of the venturers that even tell us that they have come up with the idea that they could, this is their calling. They're going to be river rafters. They're going to do this for their lifetime. They thought this was the most fantastic thing they'd ever done. We were all very confident, but the water was cold, very cold. It was so cold that there was no splashing because it wasn't actually funny. We managed to get through our first day, no problem. This was a piece of cake. We could all do it. We had our training. We knew how to paddle. We had a national champion steering our boat as a guide. So we said the next day, you know, it was a cold day. We just want to do the more challenging parts of the river. We're not going to do it all day. We're going to let ourselves rest a little bit. Our guides decided that night that they would go out and celebrate, because that's what they do. They were Czechs. They may have celebrated a little too much. The next morning, I'm looking at my guide, and he's well under the weather, and I offer him Tylenol, which he gladly accepts. It was a nice sunny day. We decided to switch up the rowers. We'll put the less strong rowers on the front, if you will, so they can experience the front of the boat. But everyone's a little tired. We're not really giving it our full strength, and our guide at the back is barely awake. But this is a wonderfully warm day. We decide we can actually jump into this water. And there's this old bridge hanging over, an old train bridge. It's half cut off. We stop there. They get us off, and we prepare to jump into the water. As incredible as that may sound, we thought, this is a good idea. It was a wonderfully refreshing experience that I did not want to repeat. As you plunge down, you come up gasping, literally. You cannot breathe. You are panicking, pressed almost. Your chest compresses on itself, tightening up, and you can't even breathe. And then they throw you a line, and your fingers don't work. You're trying to grab it like this, you manage to get it, and then they pull you in. And then you decide that I never want to do that again. Guess what? You're going to be doing that in about half an hour, but you don't know this. We go through this experience, no problem. We managed to say, well, I don't want to get in this cold water ever again. At least I didn't, because I realized I was not going to be able to handle this cold water. I had no idea what 6 degrees felt like. I've been in 60 degrees, and I'm not sure what the conversion is, because I think 6 must be around 40, and there was no way I wanted to be in that again. Well, guess what? Half an hour later, I was in it again. We weren't paying attention on the river, so we were all trying to be prepared and everything, but when you don't follow through and you know the skills you have to do, but you don't do it, you're being lazy. Guess what? We really paid for it, because we got plunged in, and your feet are hooked into contraptions to hold you in the boat. Well, that holds you in the boat when it's flipped upside down. You're upside down, you're panicking. You're trying to get your feet out. You're desperately trying to get your feet out. You don't even know, right at that point, when that water hits, I didn't even realize there was other people in the boat with me. I was just worried about myself. I totally forgot. Couldn't even think who else was there. I got out, I come back up, I'm under the boat. Now I gotta go back down again, underneath, into that water. Yes, we were in wetsuits. They weren't good enough. We needed dry suits. Well, I get up, and I can't even breathe. I think I'm screaming, but then I realize I'm just making this, I'm just sucking in air. I can't even, I've never panicked before in my life, but I was panicking. I wanted out of that water so desperately. And I thought I was prepared. I wasn't prepared, not for that kind of cold. That's when I realized being prepared is nice in theory, but sometimes life happens and you can't be prepared for that. And I will never, ever forget that. And I'm scared to go back to the water, but I have done it on a few occasions because I'm not going to give in to fear. So being prepared is the most important thing you can do. But sometimes it's a mental game, and it's a realizing you need to adapt to the scenario, to the new situation that's happened. And we adapted and we overcame. Thank you.